Suzanne from Naomi's Home Health. Sorry, just on Instagram and Naomi's Home Health Facebook page, and my thyroid group, Thyroid and Autoimmune Support on Facebook. So go join that if you haven't. So I wanted to tell you my story because there's a lot of new people in the group or coming onto Instagram, Facebook, and they don't know what my actual backstory is about, you know, how I ended up with doing what I do and helping people and finding out and actually really starting to help people. So if you're watching this live, give me a hello. I'd like to see who's listening. Tell me where you're coming in from. But if you're watching it on replay, say missed you. So it all started. Well, actually, your health starts from when you're born. So things that you do over your lifetime actually impact what happens when you get older. And I had a lot of things happen throughout my life before I got sick, so trauma and things like that. So I got sick. I didn't get actually sick. I had a thyroid, underactive thyroid when I was pregnant with my son, who is now almost 12. So I was taking the medication, didn't research anything, didn't look into anything, didn't care, just was told if I took the medication to be right, I could do that forever. And I was like, oh, rightio. But I was feeling fine. So I had my son, you know, got back into the gym, was running, doing everything I did before that I fell sick. And everything was going fine. Just kept taking my medication. My levels were fine. And then he was nearly 2 and things just went, like one night I was sitting here, my heart started pounding. It was like, it just come from nowhere. It was like instantly went bang, 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 bang. And I could hear it in my ears. I could hear it in my chest. Then it was happening when I was going to the gym and I'm like, why isn't this, what's going on? Like, why is my heart pounding? So I kept still trying to go to the gym because then I started to gain a little bit of weight around the middle and I was like, oh, I've got to get rid of that. So I was working out harder, and which is what your sort of mindset is when you're into fitness and sports and things like that. I still played Division I tennis. I was playing touch football. I played tennis twice a week. The kids came with me, went to the gym 4 or 5 times a week, very active. I used to run as well. So a lot of that, what I didn't know at the time, was putting strain on my adrenals, my hormones, my body. My body was saying stop and rest, and I was pushing harder. So then I started going to doctors and they couldn't get my levels right. And they kept saying to me, well, you know, we'll get them right. And then that's all that there is. And they kept on weighing me, which was stressful. Like you go in, they'd weigh you, they'd try and, you know, do your levels of your medication and off you'd go. That was it. No nutrition, no nothing. So I did this for like 2 years, kept going back, and more symptoms kept coming. I could not sleep. I did not sleep. I probably slept for about 2 hours every night. My legs were restless. Every time I'd lay down, within half an hour, my heart would pound, it'd be racing, I'd panic. I think I'm having a heart attack. I called an ambulance a few times. All under here was getting dark and wrinkly, and I was just feeling, I had no energy. I was feeling terrible. So many things, new symptom constantly, you name it, I had it. And the weight gain, which was just completely stressful for somebody who was very active, going to the gym, had a fit, you know, body, muscular body. Let me know if you can resonate with this, if this has happened to you, because that in itself is so stressful, which was causing more stress. And I didn't think to myself, okay, let's work out what's going on in my body. I kept thinking, I've got to lose weight. Oh my God, my clothes aren't fitting. It wasn't thinking, okay, Naomi, get some sleep, chill out, you know, find out different ways that you can manage this. I just kept going to the doctors and going, help me, help me, help me. Different GPs, endocrinologists, I changed them, you know, surely they've got to have an answer as to why I'm feeling so sick. And they just kept saying, this is how it is. You just got to deal with it. Or maybe you're just depressed. I think you're depressed because, you know, these are the symptoms that people with depression have. And I'm like, I'm not depressed. Serious things are happening in my body and I don't know what they are. And, you know, I'm not depressed. And they kept saying to me, that's what people who are depressed say. So it was very frustrating, and all this stress of not knowing why I was getting sicker and sicker and gaining weight and all the things that were stressing me out, what I didn't realize back then was making me sicker. The stress, you know, I didn't have very good support at home. My parents were good support, but My husband was not. He just kept saying, well, you know, why do you think you know better than the doctors? And I'm like, because I know my body and you can see what's happening here. Like, surely. So he wanted me to put all my trust in the doctors and just believe everything they said. And that was frustrating in itself. So after a couple of years, I went for MRIs on my every bit of body that you could think of. I had every test. I would go in there. I Googled everything. Right, give me this test, give me that test. It cost me an absolute fortune and nothing come up with results. Everything kept going, you know, it's just your thyroid. It's just fine. You've got Hashimoto's. You know, this is how it is. Just deal with it. So they go, I just don't know how to help you. I just don't know what your problem is. So I then started to go to, I went to an iridologist, a couple of naturopaths, different spiritual healers, and a lot of them started to, you know, unplug things differently. I had a holistic lifestyle coach who I learned a lot from, Brad Dwyer. He was sort of one of the later ones. He got me sort of sleeping better. I learned a lot of different things from him. He's fantastic. So I started, then I went to a essential oil workshop. I went to my friend Monica. She had a doTERRA workshop and I was literally going just to be social and to eat the cheese platter and maybe have a wine. I didn't think, because I had used an essential oil years prior when I lived overseas, when I had a lot of stress going on over there and I couldn't sleep. So I used the lavender essential oil and it made me sick and it gave me a headache and I couldn't sleep. That sounds like you. Oh, yep. This is life, isn't it? And it sucks. But the more you stress about it, the worse you get, unfortunately. But if you need some help, reach out, because I'm at the place where I literally don't have any health issues now. But, you know, if I do, I know how to manage them. I know how to help myself. But it became where, I went to this doTERRA workshop and I just really resonated with the oils, the lady Penny, who was hosting the workshop, and I learned so much. I'm like, yeah, this is right up my alley. I'd already started drinking aloe vera and sharing some natural products through Forever Living products, because they were sort of helping me. I dropped a little bit of weight and got a little bit more energy from drinking aloe vera, but I was still stressing and living in an environment that probably wasn't right for me, and going to doctors going help or whatever, or going to other healers. And then, I started to do the low tox living with doTERRA. Started to work on me emotionally. Even though I kept avoiding the emotional healing, I was like, I don't need that. I don't even have emotions. Like, I don't worry about stuff. I don't stress about stuff. And here I am, probably a mental and emotional wreck from a lifetime of pretending I don't have emotional health issues and not dealing with things and whatever. So I kept on working on the physical, and I then, just researched every single day. I was just pouring through the internet, books, going to different workshops, listening to people talk, and implementing things that really resonated with me and sat well with me intuitively, and wrote things down and recorded things, and if I did follow a protocol or a healing or took a supplement, whatever it was, I did it for a minimum of 6 months, sometimes a year, sometimes 2 years. So this is years of work and healing and whatever. And then I just started to feel better slowly, because the physical was getting there. But I just thought, why can't I was changed my nutrition completely, and I just kept thinking, why can't I get better? But I had to address the mental and the emotional, and it took a long time for me to dive into it, but I started to do some meditation, and people kept saying to me, you need to do yoga. I'm like, how boring is that? But because my heart would pound all the time. That was one of the things that I couldn't get rid of, was this heart pounding in my head. And it all comes from thickened blood and like toxic liver, which I didn't know about. Then I found NRF2 activation, and that got rid of the heart pounding. So that was fantastic. So what it does, it switches on your master detoxification pathway, and it clears out your body, and it helps your body start to cleanse naturally when you're drinking your lemon water or your aloe vera or whatever. It helps your body do those things. So, then just started really diving into the emotional healing. I saw people who helped me overcome some things from the past and allowed me to, understand that it was okay to feel things. It was okay to release and let go. And that was the most difficult part of the healing, was to work on those things and to understand some of the triggers. And I started working on gratitude and just calming myself down. I've had full OCD, like I was a maniac. And, you know, not worrying about those things so much as what I would. I still do, don't get me wrong. Like, I'm a clean freak, but not like I was. I do like things in their places, but then I can find them again and other people lose stuff. So there is a method to my madness sometimes, but I'm not as crazy with it as I was, because I've realized that that was a stress response. Like, if you've got OCD, if you worry about a cup being in the sink or your bed's not made, like I make my bed every day, but if it doesn't get made because I'm up at 6 a.m. or whatever, it's not the end of the world. The kids sometimes make their bed, and it used to stress me out if the room was messy or whatever, but now those things, I make them clean up and do their room, but it's not like a stress for me anymore. So working on those things. And you know, I spoke to my lovely friend Sonia, my beautiful friend Lana. I joined a women's circle that I was so against. I was like, I don't even understand. I sat in on a women's circle. We had it on Zoom, and I sat in on this call, and I'm like, what the fuck are they even saying? I don't even understand the language, this fucking language that they spoke. Feminine, like I was a masculine, you know, sporty, rejected the feminine, but I didn't realize I did have a lot of feminine energy, but I just thought I rejected it all the time. And so I sat in on, and then, but something made me say, I think I want to be part of this. And my friend Lana that introduced it to me, I really trusted her. So, and thank God I did, because it gave me so much. I met the most beautiful women. I had a support system. I could talk about things I would never talk about to other people. I released a lot of shit, and I learned a lot about healing spiritually, emotionally. Is this you, Rihanna? Oh, beautiful. Well, yeah, I feel for you. I feel for anybody that goes through this, because it's like frustrating. You want other people to help you, but what I discovered was I'm the only person that can help myself. I'm the one that needs to make the changes. You work with other people to facilitate your healing, and you get information from them. But sometimes what I was doing was I was hanging on to some of these people's information. Like, no, this guy told me I had to do that, and I was doing it, and it wasn't right for me. So I had to realize that the information I had gathered wasn't for me. And I find that a lot with, you know, people that comment in my thyroid group, particularly. They'll be like, no, that's not how you know, I'll put a post up about something, and they'll be like, no, that's not it. That's not how you do this, and that's not how you heal, and that's not how you get better. And it's like, it might be for some people, or it's hard to let go of the masculine when you have to step up. Yes. Yeah, you can, but you know, the feminine energy when you have a separation in a relationship. The feminine can come in, because that support, that kindness, that emotional, you know, you need that. So you're going to have that balance of masculine and feminine. I find since I've been single, the balance of masculine and feminine is even better, because I was hanging on to the masculine so much because I rejected the feminine. And my mum was quite masculine, a lady in her energy. And all my friends that I grew up with that I still have close relationships were a bit more like that too. And I found that a lot of that is what I attracted, and we're all becoming a lot more feminine now. But women were that feminine energy, that was the healing energy of villages and tribes and communities. And we've gone away from that. So we used to have medicine women, and women would sit round in circles. This is why women's circles are so important, because women would sit round in circles and talk about stuff and heal each other and release and let go, and talk about, you know, oh, I've got getting a bit of a cold or whatever it is. And they go, oh, you know, we'll boil up some tea tree. Just an example. Like, and I found that when I went to Vanuatu, this is still happening. They still live in villages. If you don't have a job, you are in the village, you are looking after children, you are growing bananas, coconuts, like they are very community based and they don't have the illness that we have. They don't go to doctors like we do. They still eat, you know, very much a lot of fruits, vegetables, a little bit of meat and no dairy.